Let's say I finish my first draft. What am I doing? Who am I showing it to? What am I thinking?
Well, the very first thing you should do when you finish a first draft is go out and celebrate. Truly. There are so many people that start a draft and never finish, and by just finishing a draft, you've probably put yourself in the top 10% of all screenwriters just by doing that one thing. And seeing something to completion, seeing a first draft come to life, that's a really huge accomplishment, especially for a first-time writer. So we really encourage people to take note of that, to celebrate. And then I would say after that, take a little break from writing so that you can be fresh, so that you can come back to it with new eyes. Now, a first draft is just the very, very, very beginning of a very long journey towards being produced or towards being a professional screenwriter. And so after you've had a chance to take a break, it's really important to go back to that draft and look at it through the eyes of an editor, to really look at it objectively so that you can rewrite it. And in our book, we have a whole chapter on rewriting and things that you can do to get your script ready. When it's ready to be seen by eyes other than your own, we generally recommend that this is where you would send it to your writers group. This is where you would get professional feedback, where you really need mentorship, where you really need somebody who can guide you through the rewrite process. And once that's happened, once you really have a working draft that you can send out, then that's when you start contacting producers. That's when you can start sending it out to festivals and to contests and things like that. Generally speaking, we find that people have more success trying to work with producers, independent producers, and teaming up with people in that way, as opposed to trying to get an agent or a manager right out of the gate. It's pretty rare that scenario happens with a first-time writer. So, you know, work with the connections that you have. Make sure that you're networking. Make sure that you're sending it to the people that you know. And if it really is truly ready to send out to the world, you should be getting back some pretty positive responses at that time.
I would say also that the thing about a first project is that you're not writing it for it to be made. You're writing it to be your calling card. So every writer needs to have a couple of scripts that they can show as, this is an example of what I can do. I know my craft. I know the business of this art form. I can marshal people's emotions. I can take a character on a journey. Because nobody's going to buy your first script or your first two scripts. You're looking to get work. You're looking for people to say, wow, you know what you're doing. I have this little project and we need a writer for it. So that's why you don't want that first project to be your weird kind of, you know, highly stylized passion thing, yes. Because nobody wants to make that. You know, they're looking to see, can you do a good basic job of your craft? We need a writer who can deliver, you know,
strong in tone and genre, and can really deliver strong characters and a plot that moves.
So a lot of people have the wrong sample script. They have the wrong idea of it, and then they're just constantly holding out hope that, you know, somebody's going to buy this script, and they miss the fact that no, that's not what it's for. For somebody starting out, you're trying to get work, and you need to show that you know your business, you know your field. So you know, we stress that with writers all the time. The truth is, your first script probably nobody should ever see. Your second script, very rarely should anybody see. But when you start, okay, now you're in your third project, your fourth project, and now you're really, you know, you're getting stuff that should be seen. But again, know what you're doing with it. You know, this is a sample of your best work. It's a sample of what you can do. And so that, again, you know, two different projects. One is more your particular voice. The other one really shows, as Vicki said, you know, you understand genre. You understand the basic structure of storytelling, because that's this mysterious thing to producers and directors and actors, and they don't know where that comes from, and they need writers who can do that. And so you've got to be able to show, I'm one of those people who can do that. The main point of creating this thing is to be your sample.
And what's also extremely important, if this is your first script and you've gotten it to a place where it is ready to show people, typically the best thing you can do at that point is to set it aside and write something else, and write your second script and get that to a place where you can show people, because then you have two things that you can show. Because this business is funny that way. If they see something that they like that is maybe not for them, they're going to say, wow, I like this writer, what else do they have? And if you don't have anything else, then that says that you're not ready yet to be a professional. So you really need to have some things under your belt.
And oh, by the way, your first project probably shouldn't be a feature. Your first project should probably be a short film, or an internet web series that are 5 2-minute episodes, or something that kind of moves you into the feature realm. The feature storytelling is the hardest kind of visual storytelling to do. So why would you start with that? You got to walk before you can run. But you'll have more confidence as you do these little projects, and then you work your way up, saying, now I'm ready to write a feature. It's amazing how many people, start writing an epic, scope.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah. $100 million big budget thing as their first project. And it's like, you're just not ready to do that. Again, go back to the metaphor of the architect. You don't design a skyscraper as your first thing, and your first project needs to be small in scope so that you can kind of get better.